I'm convinced that WWE fans are the most passionate people on the planet. When they love something, they really love it. But when they hate something, well, you know. We're gonna rank the top 10 WWE moments that made fans the angriest. Now, just to clarify, this isn't a list of the worst WWE moments. While a lot of them were awful, they aren't all necessarily bad, and you could even argue some moments on this list were actually great. This first one, though, was just plain bad. Number 10, Donald Trump vs. Rosie O'Donnell. For whatever reason, WWE does these non-wrestler wrestling matches. Matches between people who aren't wrestlers, or matches between people who are real wrestlers, but they are impersonating non-wrestling people. Arguably, all these matches upset fans, but the worst was Rosie O'Donnell vs. Donald Trump in 2007. If you want to know more about why this match happened and what it led to, check out my Battle of the Billionaires video. To summarize, this match was meant to capitalize on some trendy celebrity drama between Trump and comedian Rosie O'Donnell. Fans quickly shared their disdain for the match with a few chants.
Rosie. Oh, look at this now. Seemingly, Mr. Trump was...
The match was just dumb, and it's even more enraging when you realize all the other things WWE could have done with this time. Although, considering this next match, I guess WWE could have done worse. Number 9, Goldberg vs. Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 20. This is a classic example of a dream match turning into a nightmare. While fans had wanted to see Lesnar vs. Goldberg, this is not how they wanted it. Going into the match, fans knew that both men were leaving WWE after this show, so it made it hard to be invested. Goldberg and Brock Lesnar didn't do anything to try and change the fans' minds either. Both were just there to get a big payday before leaving, and the match was incredibly dull because of it. Just a lot of lockups, taunting, stare downs, one holds, and a bit of outside brawling. This made it easy for fans to hate this match, and more specifically, the two men in it. The only thing that prevented this match from being completely hated was seeing Stone Cold give stunners to both Brock Lesnar and Goldberg afterward. Now, if this is how fans react to a bad match, imagine a whole show of bad matches. That is exactly what happened with Number 8, ECW December to Dismember. When WWE relaunched ECW in 2006, it didn't take hardcore fans long to realize this third WWE brand wasn't going to be faithful to the original Extreme Championship Wrestling at all. The whole thing was off to a bad start, but the breaking point was ECW's first and only pay-per-view, December to Dismember. All the matches were awful, with the exception of the Hardys vs. Eminem. The show could have tried to redeem itself by having CM Punk win the Extreme Elimination Chamber match and become ECW champion, like everyone wanted, but instead, Punk was the first person eliminated and Bobby Lashley won. This is long before Lashley became the Almighty, and nobody was excited to see him become world champion. This show was awful, and the fans in attendance made sure to let WWE know.
You gotta be kidding. No, we haven't. Big Show wants in now, though. He wants in, but yeah, the Big Show doesn't want.
The fans were so desperate to go home happy that a few people had their own fight outside the arena after the show.
That's the best fight I've seen all night.
Now, what's worse than paying money to see bad wrestling? How about paying money to see no wrestling? That's basically what happened to the fans at number 7, Raw's 25th anniversary. While the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw wasn't an awful show, it made one group of fans angry. To celebrate the milestone, WWE had Raw 25 broadcast from 2 venues. One was a big arena, like they normally would, while the other was the Manhattan Center in New York City. This is the same venue that the first episode of Raw emanated from, so it was a cool idea. However, in actuality, it was a terrible decision. Almost all the action happened at the other arena, so fans paid to sit in a big room and watch Raw on a TV. Some of those tickets were upwards of $700 too. WWE threw some cruiserweight matches together for the fans, but it didn't do much, and the fans made sure to let them know. Honestly, if WWE had done what they did in 2005, fans still would have hated it, but for the right reasons. What am I talking about? Well, number 6, Bret Hart returns in 2005. Now this is one of those awesome moments when WWE actually wants to make the fans mad and they succeed. In 2005, Shawn Michaels was in a feud with Hulk Hogan. This was the only time after Michaels returned in 2002 that he was the bad guy. It worked out perfectly though, as the August 15th, 2005 episode of Raw was in Montreal, Quebec, about 8 years after the Montreal Screwjob. The fans hated Shawn Michaels before he even said anything, and they hated him even more after this.
Bret, got your hopes up just a little bit, didn't I?
It was a great moment just for how upsetting it was. Nobody could have pulled this off except for Shawn Michaels. Not just because he was part of the Montreal Screwjob, but also because he acted like such a cocky jerk. HBK is the original troll.
Who's your daddy, Montreal?
WWE really amazes me. Sometimes they know exactly what to give the fans. Other times, they'd be better off having a goldfish make decisions for them. I'm talking about number 5, Big Show vs. Batista. The fact that somebody said this match was a good idea still amazes me. Shortly after WWE relaunched ECW, they decided to host one episode from the Hammerstein Ballroom, where the original ECW used to run shows. Not a bad idea. But WWE made the main event Big Show vs. Batista. A very bad idea. These two wrestlers were the furthest from ECW you could get. Nothing wrong with that, except that the crowd was hardcore old school ECW fans.
Get the Big Show. About to say, it's not often you see Batista getting pushed off.
The fans hated the match before either man entered the ring. Even Batista, who was supposed to be the face, was getting booed by the fans. Nothing the Animal or Big Show did got a reaction other than disgust. The match was dull and ended with Big Show clobbering Batista with the ECW title, causing a disqualification. I could keep going on, but I believe this match is the only time that the fans told the TV viewers to stop watching the show.
No, you can't. Change the channel.
Now, what's worse than fans getting angry with a bad match? How about when people in the company get mad watching a bad match? I'm talking about number 4, Seth Rollins vs. The Fiend, Hell in a Cell. The 2019 Hell in a Cell pay-per-view started out fine enough. There were some good and alright matches, but the entire thing face-planted at the end. The main event was Seth Rollins vs. The Fiend in a Hell in a Cell match. The match began alright, but the fans started to get increasingly angrier once Rollins began hitting curb stomp after curb stomp and The Fiend no-sold them. It only got worse when Seth started using weapons and The Fiend kicked out no matter what Seth hit him with. In total, Seth hit 11 curb stomps and 1 pedigree, none of which got him the win. What really destroyed this match though was the fact that Seth lost via disqualification. X-Pac summed it up best.
How the hell do you get DQ'd in the hell
Did he
in
get
the
DQ'd or the refs
frickin'
just stopped
cell?
the match?
The other thing that makes the disqualification terrible is that Rollins used other weapons throughout the match. So why then did he get DQ'd when he used the sledgehammer? The match was illogical and poorly thought out, and the fans let WWE know. If you thought that was bad, imagine fans booing someone for 5 minutes straight. Oh yeah, we're talking about number 3, Roman Reigns, the night after WrestleMania 33. Roman Reigns is one of the most interesting wrestlers of all time. When WWE wanted fans to like him, they hated him. Now when WWE wants fans to hate him, they love him. Going back to that whole hate thing though, there were a few moments in Roman Reigns' career where fans were more than a little angry at him. One of the most negative responses the big dog ever got was the night after WrestleMania 33. To recap, Roman Reigns fought The Undertaker at WrestleMania in the main event and defeated him. This was also supposed to be The Undertaker's last match, so the fans were pretty upset that the dead man went out being defeated by Roman Reigns. It didn't help either that the match Roman and Taker had its fair share of problems. Top all that off with the fact that the Raw after WrestleMania crowd is usually pretty opinionated, and you have a recipe for one of the angriest WWE crowds ever. Roman stood in the ring for nearly 5 minutes and just got booed. I honestly think this is a good WWE moment in its own way, but without question, it's one of the angriest WWE crowds ever. What could make fans even angrier than Roman Reigns? Well, Roman Reigns. Number 2, the 2015 Royal Rumble. After his breakup with the Shield in 2014, Roman Reigns was positioned as the next face of WWE. This is all good, except for the fact that the fans hated it. While there was already some pushback from fans before the 2015 Royal Rumble match, this is the moment where the hatred came to a boiling point. WWE tried their best to make it work by eliminating Daniel Bryan early so fans didn't get their hopes up. They even had The Rock come out to save Roman Reigns and acknowledge him as the winner, but that didn't work either. Yes, the fans booed The Rock. The Great One even looked caught off guard by the whole thing. Canceled WWE Network started trending, and the network actually crashed because so many people tried to end their subscriptions all at once. The turn on top was that the Royal Rumble match itself was one of the worst in the event's history, but even a good Royal Rumble wouldn't have saved it. There's only one other incident that fans hated more, and funny enough, it happened almost exactly 1 year earlier. And number 1, the 2014 Royal Rumble. As you've seen from this list, while WWE has always had moments that receive backlash from fans, many of the most hated ones happened in the past 8 or so years. WWE has been on a trend of not understanding their audience, and I think it started at the 2014 Royal Rumble. First, some context. In 2013, Daniel Bryan received this massive push when John Cena chose Bryan to be his SummerSlam opponent. Bryan accepted, and not only did Daniel beat Cena, but he also won the WWE Championship. 2 huge accomplishments, all done in one night. Then, Triple H sneak attacked Daniel Bryan, allowing Randy Orton to cash in Money in the Bank and take the championship from Bryan. This instantly set up a fantastic storyline of Daniel Bryan trying to reclaim the WWE title and defeat the Authority at the same time. Bryan was the perfect character for the role too, given his height and not looking like your typical sports entertainment star. All WWE had to do was enter Daniel Bryan in the Royal Rumble and win, and the rest would be history. However, not only was Daniel Bryan not in the Royal Rumble, but Batista won the match. To say this moment made fans upset would be underselling it. To put it in perspective, the fans booed Rey Mysterio when he was the final entrant. Rey Mysterio, the guy who has never once been a bad guy in his entire WWE career, was now hated by the fans for not being Daniel Bryan. As soon as the fans knew Bryan wasn't in the Royal Rumble, they completely turned on the match. To make it even worse, once the fans realized that Batista was going to win, they began booing him.
Almost cut Roman Reigns in half!
The negative reaction was so strong that it actually caused WWE to change plans and add Daniel Bryan to the World Championship match at WrestleMania 30, so there was a happy ending. I don't know though if you'll be happy about my picks for the top 10 best and worst WWE finishers in 2022. See if you agree or disagree by hitting the video on screen.